So, as said by Dimitri, I'm not Yanni. Yanni from Villa Copenhagen made this presentation, presented it so well at our previous meetup, but unfortunately, she couldn't be here today. So I'm Andrew. I head up our Commercial Excellence division, and it's my absolute pleasure to walk you through Yanni's presentation today. Villa Copenhagen. Villa Copenhagen is really a wonderful hotel here in the heart of Copenhagen. I've worked here at Kahoot for a little over 5 years. And during that time, I've had, you could say, one or two opportunities to be in front of customers, taking our solutions to them and hopefully bringing them to life. Villa, of course, were one such customer. And this one is actually very close to me. I've really enjoyed the collaboration we've had. But more importantly, the way that things began for Villa, excuse me, Copenhagen was quite special. The very first day, that they actually went live with an employee app we made together with them, happened to be the very first day of the Corona lockdown here in Copenhagen. So you could say quite a challenging period for them to get started. Also quite a challenging period for a brand new hotel who happened to have 400 brand new employees to get started with. And in the whole, of course, whole hospitality industry, things were quite tough. I mean, imagine this presentation is all about building brand ambassadors. This is something that Villa Copenhagen have been trying quite successfully to do since day one. But imagine day one with that goal in mind, trying to build an employee brand, trying to embed the right culture into a non-desk workforce. And on that very same day when you get started, you actually have to furlough more than 50% of your brand new workforce. So they've certainly had a big challenge in front of them. A little bit more about Villa. Villa Copenhagen is the epitome of conscious luxury. Villa is determined to redefine the top end of hospitality. They want to be the best hotel for the world by taking full responsibility for their environmental footprint. So yes, they are a 5-star hotel, and they underpin this with solid, livable, measurable, sustainable goals. But don't just take my word for it, and I'm not being paid to say this, but you should book a night there if you're in Copenhagen, or even 2. You should try their rooftop swimming pool, which is heated, open all year round. But would you believe the heating comes from the excess energy that's leaving the building anyway? Or another initiative that I think is just super cool is you can swap having your room turned down and linen changed between the nights that you're there for a cocktail at the bar instead. I mean, what a great idea that is for thinking about the environment. Imagine how many beds and how much linen is pointlessly replaced every night in most hotels around the world. So I super recommend that you check out Villa Copenhagen if you can even get a booking next time you're in Copenhagen. So, as mentioned before, I'm not Yanni, and I'm not Carolyn either. These two amazing people have this super important role at Villa. They've got the task of getting 400-ish people to become brand ambassadors. It's not something they focus on 1 or 2. They want everyone to be fully Villa Copenhagen when their guests arrived. So 400 people to live and exude the values behind the best hotel for the world. Most of these employees are non-desk. Nearly 30% of them are what are known as 0-hour contracts or on-call staff. Pretty much, as I said, 100% are non-deskers. So you can say these are the hardest to reach and connect to workforce, but these two ladies know exactly how to do it. In the heart of Copenhagen, it's actually very close. You can't see it, but it's very close to me where I'm based right now, next to the main central station. It's really a beautiful place. It's part of the Strawberry Group of hotels. They have roughly 200 hotels, something like 20,000 employees. What you understand when you go into this hotel is how well both Carolyn and Yanni have done in terms of putting in this feeling of villa into this hotel, into the staff. They've understood since day one, out of necessity from the top management, that you cannot underestimate the power of good communication, especially to the non-desker. Kahoot, Villa Copenhagen, we have a really strong partnership. And I'm going to show you how we work together over the next couple of slides in terms of driving this ambassadors within. Goodie. Kahoot, as James has shown, lots of exciting things always happening. We have many different platforms, and I'm not going to walk you through all of them, but the ones that Strawberry Group and specifically Villa are using, I'm going to dive into just a little bit, just to show you that all the different ways that they are actually targeting their non-deskers to drive the things that are important to them. So starting at the beginning here, Motimate, it's our learning XP experience platform. And it's actually used by the whole Strawberry Group. And basically, it's an e-learning solution that's mobile first. So every employee has it on their own device, which means they can, of course, dive into that wherever they want. When they're having 5 minutes here or 5 minutes there, they can catch up on some training that needs to be done. The nice thing about this solution is all of the customers that use it can actually adapt the training for the different types of roles, different personas, different jobs to be done. And you're not cluttered. The user experience is not cluttered with lots of other information that's not relevant to them. One of the key points for Strawberry is, as they rolled out Motimate across all of their employees and all the 200 plus hotels, they're also trying to get more uniform across all the different technology they're using. And I'm sure, as all of you are aware, when you take on new technology in one place and you want to get it used the same everywhere, it's quite a challenge, especially with the non-desk workforce. So what they do with all this standardization, they run these programs through Motimate, which means everybody gets the information at the same time and everybody's able to reinforce their own learning when it suits them. They also put lots of important information there, and it's a depository where people can come back to all the time. But this changing systems, I mean, we're all used to that. Suddenly we're using this tool, now we're using another one. This has been extremely valuable for the Strawberry Group. The Aximo solution is an employee app dedicated from the beginning, all about non-deskers. And this is where our journey actually began with Villa Copenhagen. And as I mentioned, and I can still remember it like yesterday, that day with the lockdown, that day was go date for launching this app. That day was go date for the opening of the hotel. And it all just sort of felt like it was going to fall apart. But the way that Peter, the general manager, and his team, the way that they managed to kind of regroup, stay focused on their values and keep people informed. I mean, it was a level of excellence, you know, and professionalism that they really brought forward. And for a large part during Corona, they stayed open and they were actually fully booked. It was amazing, you know, so they managed to keep getting people that were furloughed back in when they needed them. And it was all about communication. So the Aximo solution, it's designed for non-deskers. It's designed to make the world a smaller place. So think about, okay, we have 400, we have 40,000 people, whatever the number is, you want them all to be one family. And that's what Aximo enables them to do. It enables them to reach out to those people wherever they are, connect with them, and build some kind of idea that you are part of something. And they found this extremely, extremely valuable, which is why most of the time they'd set up themselves to talk about this. But it was short notice, so they relied on me, and I'm really happy to talk about it. The last solution that they're using that I'll talk about today is, of course, Kahoot, just like we've seen, just like you're all familiar with. But they use it in quite a special way, and they've got quite a special underpinning as to why they use this in the way that they use it. You know, the hospitality industry, for those of you who don't know, it's actually a high turnover employee industry. And it's just the way it is. We talk a lot with many different types of non-desker industries. What you get with hospitality is a traveling workforce. You get people from all kinds of countries and cities coming through, and they're spending some time in Copenhagen and need to work. So it's slightly changing, and there's not a lot you can do about it. It's also not the highest paid industry to be in, but that doesn't stop people who want to be in the service industry from finding jobs in there, or in the food industry or whatever it is, who have their craft that they want to go and do. But it does make them, they can move around from different employers. So the key that Villa have found out is, if you can make people feel like part of the family, and part of the family early, they can address this challenge of people leaving just to go work in the hotel next door. And one of the ways they do that in their onboarding is on pretty much day one, and they have something like 15, 20-ish new starters every month. They get them in one of these brand sessions, and they basically start this idea of being a brand ambassador from the get-go. And by doing that, they're able to make people feel like they're joining something bigger than just a job. And it's proven, there's statistics out there of doing this in day one helps in the long term of reducing that turnover of employees, and also just extending the time someone would stay working for you in general. And I mean, part of the magic here is these 20 plus people, or 20-ish people, when they leave that first day with a smile on their face, with a feeling like, hey, I've joined this great family, they leave excited, they're engaged, they've had fun, and they're looking forward to day two. And of course, that's the best way anyone can start any job. I'm sure many of you have very different experiences when you've been onboarded to any company. So what's next in our journey and our collaboration with Villa from Kahoot and all the wonderful things we can do with them? Well, we're looking into how they can run their town halls. It will be exactly what James has been showing, all kinds of things that we can do there. They want to use presentations. They have all kinds of opportunities where they can address all kinds of challenges by presenting more clearly. And I mean, why wouldn't you use in smaller huddles, for example, some of the great features that Kahoot's able to offer? I mean, if any of you have worked in hospitality, I have many years ago, you all often have a kickoff meeting at the beginning of a shift, whether that's in the kitchen or the restaurant. So what better way to do that with some laugh and some giggles, whilst also getting the important information that you need to have in your head for the shift. So we're going to be doing all kinds of huddles with our solution with them, and we're excited to try that out. And there'll be, to finish up on here, there's the onboarding is really important, of course, as it is for anyone in any company, but specifically the non-desk industries. So we're going to be looking into how we can use some of the elements of all the different solutions to really help them with their onboarding of new starters and improving that flow and the feelings they have when they join. So that kind of wraps it up for me. I hope when Yanni watches this presentation, she gives me a thumbs up and ranks me as a 5. But thank you very much. And I am finished. Back to you, Dimitri.